Welcome. We're doing a tier maker tonight. Tokoboy redeemed one. I talked about it in my Discord here earlier today, as he has seen Ungentlemanly Warfare. I have not seen it. He gave it a pretty high score in my Discord, but said he also hasn't seen Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels and Snatch. The two films that really put him on the map. You kind of need to talk about those movies, and then I thought, well, let's just do a tier maker for Guy Ritchie films. Am I a big Guy Ritchie fan? Not really. In fact, I'll go ahead and admit, I have not seen his Aladdin. I have not seen his King Arthur. Bam. I also haven't seen Ungentlemanly Warfare because that just came out. I haven't seen it. I have seen the rest. Yes, okay, no, I haven't seen Swept Away. Sorry. He's dating Madonna. He made the movie as some sort of vanity project. I had no desire. No desire. The reviews came in about where I expected them to. No thank you. So, out of that, here are my opinions of the rest of the Guy Ritchie films that I have seen. And we're going to start at the top with Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. And by the way, these are in order. So, Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. I saw this in a theater in Denver, Colorado, opening weekend. I had a couple friends who were like, dude, we need to go see Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. I hadn't even heard of it yet. I hadn't even seen the trailer. This was 97, 98. So before the internet was really popping off and people were just immediately seeing, smartphones with trailers in their faces all the time. I went to it blind and I walked out. My mind was blown. This is one of the best movies I've ever seen. Early 20s, that whole energy. Is it one of the best movies I've ever seen? Of course not. But it's fun. And it's really fun, actually. And it repeats really, really well. I think, for me, it's an A. It's a high A or a low S. Maybe S minus. It's very repeatable. It's not quite as funny as it thinks it is, but it's pretty witty, and the plot goes up and down in a couple of different ways, and by the end, you're going to have a smile on your face. It's guaranteed. Also, really good soundtrack. I have the soundtrack for this on physical CD. I think it's an A. I think it's an A for sure. The next film he made was Snatch, and it was basically just another better, slicker version of Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. Totally different story, but similar in the vibe. But it's a better film. In fact, I'm gonna make it an S. I watched this not too long ago, although slight spoiler, I believe a dog dies in this. There's one that there are dead dogs. There's a couple of dead dogs in it. There's in the bottom of it's like a dog fighting pit. Spoiler alert. Why is it these movies that I love have either dead dogs in them or dogs that are going to that die? I don't know why, but Snatch is one of those. And if you can remove that tiny little bit, this is an S for me. It's funny consistently all the way through. The plot, it's all over the place, but in a good way. And after Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, he had so much clout. He got Brad Pitt to be in the movie, or Brad Pitt came to him. Benicio del Toro is Frankie Four Fingers. Dennis Farina. Oh. You got anything to declare? Yeah, don't go to London. He is so funny. The whole bit. I almost want to show y'all. He flies to London to tell somebody off. And the way it's edited is amazing. Even today, you watch it. It has aged really, really well. And I have this on 4K, I believe. Yeah, it's a pretty good transfer. It's definitely worth your time. Really funny, British humor, but also kind of. I mean, it's British humor, but people in America should appreciate this. And I can't believe there's more people who haven't seen this. Toko. But I will say, you were probably pretty young when it first came out, because Snatch came out, it was in 2000. Fun fact, when Columbia TriStar was selling me this movie, I was a buyer for Hastings. I was on their key buyer list, so I got like some swag sometimes when they would send a kit. And it was a VHS screener of the movie, which I'd seen in theaters like twice, but it's like a fake diamond, and it says Snatch on the top of it, but it's like this big. It's like basically the size of the diamond in the movie, and it's just this glass fake diamond, but it's pretty neat. I still have it here somewhere. It's in a box up in my attic. I need to go find it. It's pretty cool. One of the more fun swag things I got when I used to be a product buyer. It's an S for me, S minus probably. Then comes a bit of a dip. Now, how does he follow up those movies? He tries to do something different with Revolver, but it's kind of a crime movie, but it's not. This movie bored the pants off of me. You know what else did? Rock and Rolla. I couldn't tell you what Rock and Rolla is about. I couldn't. They're not Fs. They're watchable. But they're both just really... I'm going to try to do something different, but it's a crime movie because this is what I'm getting funded with. Producers in Hollywood, whatever, they want me to make another Snatch, another Lock, Stock. The scripts in both of those movies are not good. Like, they're bad. They're just... It's a lot of noise and a lot of nonsense and a ton of characters that are supposed to be flashy, and they're not funny or really that memorable. I'll be honest, I don't remember much from either of those films. I had no desire to watch them. A second time, I should say. I did watch them both. They're D's for me because of that. I would put Rock and Rolla slightly above Revolver. I think the pacing in Rock and Rolla was a little bit better. Revolver was so slow. I think at least Rock and Rolla had a little bit better pacing, but they're both pretty not good movies. Then, out of nowhere... Why is this music so quiet? Let's turn it up a little bit. Out of nowhere, he gets Sherlock Holmes. And I watched the trailer for this, and it is so not Sherlock Holmes. Like, it's not the Sherlock Holmes that was written. It's not the Sherlock Holmes that was famously done in the movies with Basil Rathbone and all that. It's meant to be an updated, newer version. Yes, Sherlock could fight, but they played up all of that in ways that were pretty dumb. Having said that, Melissa is a huge Sherlock Holmes nerd. She's read like all the books. She hated these movies. Like, she didn't even watch the second one. I watched the second one, I think, without her. Or maybe I talked her into it. I was like, Moriarty's in the second one. The first one is a little bit enjoyable, even though there's really no mystery in it. Like, they're trying to make it like he's solving something, but it's not. It's not like that. Now, y'all know the real Sherlock. If you're going to watch an updated Sherlock, it's the BBC Sherlock. The first 2 seasons. It's all you need. Leave the ending alone. Don't watch season 3. Don't watch season 4. Let them go. They're not very good. But season 1 and season 2 are some of the most peak 10 out of 10 television out there ever. Seriously good. Basically, they wrote themselves into a corner with the end of season 2, and they took a long time as those 2 actors were getting more and more famous and getting more roles. It was tough to time it to where they could get them back together to film a season 3. And the internet had tried to figure out what happened. I'm on a bit of a tangent here, if you can just bear with me. But that Sherlock is about the mysteries and how he solves them and how his brain works. These movies are not that. And if you can get past that, I will say the first Sherlock Holmes, I'm not going to say a guilty pleasure, but it's watchable. And it's very Guy Ritchie in the way it's edited, with the fast jump cuts and the slow-mo, quick motion, all that in the fight scenes. It's not a good movie, but I think as a C, that's fair. The second one is a D. I'll put it above these other 2 films, because if you put a gun to my head, I'd rather watch those 2 actors do their thing. Yeah, it's worse than the first one. Toko says agreed. So you're with me on those movies. Watchable, very popcorn, slightly guilty pleasure. If they're on cable, I'll watch them, but I'm not seeking them out. Sherlock 1 is B and Sherlock 2 is C for me. Okay, so you would move them all up 1 piece. And honestly, I think that's where the average viewer would probably put them. I just gotta ding them a little bit because they're, after Sherlock BBC came out around this time, it's like you can't top that. You cannot top that. Okay, then comes Man from U.N.C.L.E., and I have seen the original show. It used to be on in syndication when I was growing up in the 80s. There was a couple channels that showed these old reruns. It's a British spy show, and it was pretty good for its time. And I thought, this is weird. He's making a Man from U.N.C.L.E. film now. I don't know what to think, but the casting was great. You got Henry Cavill versus what's the guy's name? I gotta look this up. He's kind of got the weird name. Armie Hammer. Yeah, instead of Arm and Hammer, he's Armie Hammer. The casting is really good. And oh wait, isn't what's her name in it too? Oh, Alicia Vikander's in it. Elizabeth Debicki is in it, if I'm saying her name right. Hugh Grant is in it as well. Really good cast. And I will tell you, I quite enjoyed the movie. I only watched it once. I've watched it to see if it held up. It was just on cable like yesterday morning as I was eating some cereal. I was flipping through the channels before I went to work, and I was like, Man from U.N.C.L.E., I haven't seen this movie in forever. I wonder if it holds up. I'm going to give it a B. Maybe a low B, but it's like a 6.75 out of 10. Like it's almost a 7. For me, 7 is a recommendation. I could say as a B, it's a recommendation, just a very weak recommendation. But the cast is good. It looks the part. It's kind of fun, but you don't really know what's going on until the end, and then you're like, oh, that was kind of neat. Low A, high B for you. Okay, we're not far off on that. Then there's The Gentleman, and why is Matthew McConaughey in this film? I don't understand. It completely miscast. I'm sure he came in and said, hey, I want to make a movie with you. And Guy Ritchie's like, of course. He's horribly miscast. The rest of the film, it's rough, man. It's rough. All this flashback crap with Hugh Grant and everything. And don't get me started on Operation Fortune. That is a D. That is a D. That is a low D. It's down here. I don't know where between these two. I'd rather watch Rock and Rolla. But The Gentleman, I'm going to give it a high D. By the end, I just was like, really? I spent this time watching that. That's the ending. Charlie Hunnam is pretty good in it. He gets a pretty good featured role. Hugh Grant's fun. Oh, who's the other guy? Colin Farrell. Love Colin Farrell in the movie. Okay, I'm gonna make it a low C. But if you said between that Sherlock Holmes film, which I begrudgingly accept that it's watchable, it's less watchable than that, but I can't put it as a D compared to those other films. I just can't. Toko, where are you putting that one? I think I had high expectations for it, and again, it's one of those movies where I think Guy Ritchie was going for that Lock, Stock, and Snatch type feel with all these wacky characters, and the magic was there for him twice, right? Lock, Stock happened, and it was lightning in a bottle. He made a star out of, what's his name, on the cover, the former footballer, the tall guy. He was like the... Oh, God, why am I having such problems with names today? He was like the footballer who was just headbutting people all the time. Vinnie Jones. He found Jason Statham and Vinnie Jones. They both got out of that movie. Who else, actor-wise, got their big start in this? I know there's like another name in here. Maybe not. Matthew Vaughn has a small part in it. That's funny. I'm the Juggernaut, bitch. You put it same. It's like a low C. Okay. Ewan McGregor was not in Lock, Stock. No. Ewan McGregor got his start in Trainspotting a few years before that. So he caught lightning in a barrel with Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. It's a tiny bit uneven, but it's a really good movie. And for a debut, fantastic. Then Snatch comes, and it's like a better version of that. Not a perfect film, but it's really fun. It's a low S for me. He's trying to recapture that magic. He tried it twice with Revolver and Rock and Rolla, both not good films. Then he gets to do the Sherlock Holmes films and gets some box office success, gets a little more clout, makes The Gentleman, which is his attempt again. He's like, I'm going to try to go back to the well and make a bunch of wacky characters. It's only slightly better than Rock and Roll and Revolver. Now, Wrath of Man. Let's make a heist film. But let's do it a little different. Let's try to do it like 70s kind of, not grindhouse, but it was an R-rated film. I liked about 3/4 of that movie, and I think the ending really craps the bed. Unfortunately, the ending is just... I'm not going to spoil it here. Let's just say I was with them. I was there. And the reviews were pretty positive on it. So I was like, as I'm following the movie, and I'm just like, yeah, okay. I kind of see where this is going, but okay. And it's this tacked on BS ending that doesn't belong there. It's like, why? You couldn't land the plane. You're right there on the runway, and then you just did a barrel roll. It's an own goal at the end of the film. It kind of ruins it for me. I will say I like it better than Sherlock Holmes 1 and The Gentleman, if only because it's very pulpy. And it's something I wasn't expecting from Guy Ritchie. Having said that, it is just a hair above Sherlock Holmes. It's not... I wouldn't even say it's a high C. It's like a mid C. Gentleman's a low C. I just can't go high D on it. You remember the ending to Wrath of Man? I mean, it's more than 3/4 of a really good film. And I was like, Guy Ritchie's back. No, what did you do that for? It was right there. The best ending was right there. All right, finally, low C for you. Okay, last is Guy Ritchie's The Covenant. And I'm going to tell you, stop me if you've heard this one. It's about 3/4 of a decent movie. I don't want to say good. I was with it until about the last 15 minutes. And then it just decides to do this Hollywood bullshit. It doesn't belong. It feels like they just wrote themselves up to the end and went, well, we'll just do this. We'll have this happen, and that'll get us out of it. And it's not based on a true story, so it's not like they at least lean on that and be like, you wouldn't believe it, but if it was true, it's not a true story. There are better modern day military movies out there, hands down. Tons of them are way better. Is it bad? No, it's not bad. But to say it's... yeah, I'm going to put it there. I'm going to put it between The Gentleman and Sherlock Holmes. I would watch Sherlock Holmes again before I would watch The Covenant. But I would watch The Covenant before I would watch The Gentleman again. That's kind of where I'm going to put that one. And again, it's just this ending that kind of ruins the way the movie's going. You kind of get a feel where it's going, and then it does go there, but the way it does it is so cheeseball. Haven't seen The Covenant yet. Can't say you should. Look, if you want to watch a modern era military movie that is surprisingly good, Lone Survivor. If you haven't seen it, check it out. Mark Wahlberg, really well cast. The rest of the people that are in the film, really well cast. The last 20 minutes of that is so good. 30 minutes even, I think it's maybe more. Really well done. Didn't expect it. And by the end, I was like, wow, very impressed. Peter Berg directed that one. Really good director. He's one of those directors that he can land the plane. And it's based on a true story, right down to the two people at the end of the film. You see the two of them in real life and how they're still in touch. It's really cool. So you want to see something that's kind of a modern day, really well paced story? Head and shoulders above The Covenant. Watching The Covenant kind of makes me feel like Guy Ritchie watched that movie and was like, oh yeah, I can do that too. No, you can't. At least not with that script, you can't. So, all right. That is my Guy Ritchie tier maker. Where do you come out on these? Do you think Snatch is his best film? Some of you out there might think that the first Sherlock Holmes is your favorite film of his. I won't argue it, right? It's just a very different version of telling a Sherlock Holmes story. Zero based in anything that was actually written from the original books. But you know what? Have fun with it. It's fiction. It's meant to be fun. He goes all in on the fun, and I think some of it works, some of it doesn't. Man from U.N.C.L.E., way better than I expected. Not great, but still pretty good. But it's his first 2 films are his best 2 films. So if you haven't seen those, get on it. But watch Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels first. It's lower budget. The cast is, you'll recognize a lot of people in it because a lot of them have found work since. But don't watch Snatch and then watch Lock, Stock. That's the wrong order. They're in two totally different universes. Jason Statham is in both, and he's playing 2 different people. But you will watch Lock, Stock, and you'll enjoy it, and then you'll watch Snatch, and you'll go, ah, that's a better version of that film. If you watch Snatch and then you watch Lock, Stock, you'll be a little bit disappointed in Lock, Stock. Start with Lock, Stock, then watch Snatch. And then maybe catch Man from U.N.C.L.E. on cable. The rest of these, I can live with or live without. But what do you think? If you're watching this on YouTube, let me know. Is Snatch an S-rated film? And with that, I'm going to take off. Thank you for watching. Appreciate it. Toko, thanks for redeeming the tier maker points. I was actually about to go to bed, but I'm glad you did because I just decided I would just start talking about Guy Ritchie films. If you're watching this on YouTube, thank you. Click that head up there, that little subscribe head. Appreciate that. Would love to have you come and hang out with us some more. All right. Have a good night, everyone. Goodbye. Am I off camera yet?